Somewhere above you, right now, a tax cut is being poured, and you have been told to wait because some of it is coming your way. Here is what they never told you. The name of that promise was invented by a comedian as a punchline. The joke is 90 years old. This is Case File 7, Trickle-Down. The story that your raise is always one tax cut away, and what actually reached your cup. You know the pitch. Cut taxes at the top, and the money comes down to you. Jobs, raises, opportunity, a rising tide, lifting your boat. Every few years, the pitch returns wearing a new suit. Supply side, job creators, growth. The spout moves, the promise never does. And you keep being cast in the same role, the sparrow at the bottom, told to be patient while the horse is fed. It was sold to your grandparents, your parents, and you. Same cup, same spot under the spout. 3 generations of waiting. 90 years is long enough. This file does what this channel always does. First, why you believed it, then the receipts, then who cashed in. And the receipts on this one are unusual because, for once, the story's own birth certificate survives. It was born laughing at itself. So let us start where every long con starts, with the part of you that wanted it to be true. Start fair. Investment is real. When money builds a factory, jobs exist that did not exist before. Nobody in this file denies that. Rich people do buy things, fund things, start things. Some money at the top genuinely reaches the bottom. The mechanism is not zero. And the alternative sounded worse. Punish success? Tax the builders? You were offered a choice between hope and envy, and hope feels better. Besides, you have a boss, and your boss has money. It is not crazy to believe more money up there means more paycheck down here. The story also flatters the future you. One day you might be the one at the top. Why vote to tax the person you plan to become? So when a confident man at a podium said the tide would lift all boats, you did not hear a theory. You heard a promise with your name on it. That is what good economic stories do. They cast you in the sequel. The raise is always in next year's budget. The trickle is always coming. And when it does not come, the story has an answer ready. The cut was not big enough. Pour more at the top. Wait longer. A promise that can never fail, only be underfunded, is not a promise. It is a subscription. But this one left a paper trail longer than most. Pull the first receipt, and it is not an economics paper at all. It is a newspaper joke. November 1932. The Depression is 3 years deep. A newspaper humorist named Will Rogers sits down to explain the rescue plan. He writes, "The money was all appropriated for the top in the hopes that it would trickle down to the needy." Rogers was being savage, not scholarly. His very next point, money trickles up, hand it to the bottom, and the top will have it by nightfall anyway. That is the birth certificate. Trickle-down was not coined by an economist defending it. It was coined by a comedian mocking it. And no school of economics ever claimed the name. The people who liked the policies always called them something else. 50 years later, the joke got a second author. The economist John Kenneth Galbraith reached back for the older barnyard name, horse and sparrow. Feed the horse enough oats, and some will pass through to the road for the sparrows. Sit with that image a moment. You are the sparrow. Even its friends flinched. In 1980, a Republican presidential candidate called his rival's version of it voodoo economic policy. That candidate was George Bush. His rival won, made him vice president, and the voodoo became the official recipe. Bush later denied ever saying it until a television network aired the tape. Even the men selling the story knew what it was worth. So the receipts on the name are unanimous. A punchline, a barnyard insult, voodoo, coined by a mocker, a critic, and an ally. But a bad name proves nothing by itself. Maybe the joke worked anyway. That is a fair question, and it got a fair test. 90 years of one. Here is the test the story kept asking for. In 1980, the top tax rate was 70%. By 1988, 28%. The top of the spout opened wider than at any time since 1931. If the story were true, your cup should have overflowed. So measure the cup. Since 1979, productivity, the value workers create, grew 3.5 times as much as the typical worker's pay. Workers held up their end of the deal. More output, more skill, more value, every single decade. The trickle was earned. It just never arrived. Then in 2020, 2 researchers ran the whole experiment at once. 18 countries, 50 years of major tax cuts for the rich. The result? Growth, unchanged. Unemployment, unchanged. The only number that reliably moved was the income share of the people at the top. Country after country, decade after decade, the oats stayed with the horse, the road stayed clean, the sparrows stayed hungry. Notice what that means. The tide did rise. The yachts rose with it. It just turned out the tide was never connected to your boat. And every time the trickle failed to arrive, the prescribed remedy was pour again. 1981, 2001, 2017. Each pour came with the same invoice, deficits, and the deficits came with the same bill collector. Cut the help that reaches the bottom directly. The corkboard knows this shape by now. A promise at the top, a bill at the bottom, and a story standing in between, directing traffic. So pin the 90-year test where the villain's photo should be. Rates fell, productivity climbed, pay flatlined, the growth never showed. Follow the beneficiaries. This one is not subtle. Whatever was poured at the top stayed at the top. The 50-year study says exactly that. But the quieter beneficiary is the story itself. As long as your raise is always one tax cut away, you will keep voting for the spout. Now the fairness beat because it is genuinely due. Tax policy is hard, and there are real debates about rates, investment, and growth. Honest people disagree about where the top rate should sit. That debate is legitimate, and this file has no quarrel with it. The quarrel is with the promise. Selling a top rate cut as your raise, 90 years past its test date, is not a policy debate. It is marketing. And both parties bought shares. The famous cuts of 2001 were extended in 2010 and made mostly permanent in 2012. 82% of them made permanent with the other party's signature. The spout has friends on both sides of the aisle. Meanwhile, you did your part. You waded through recoveries, booms, bubbles, and miracles. You were patient exactly as instructed. 2 generations of patience. Same wall, same spout, same cup, and a story refilling your hope faster than it ever filled the cup. 90 years is a long time to stand under a spout, holding your cup. Which leaves one question: who taught you to stand there? Trickle-down. Translation: do not ask for the raise directly. Wait for it to fall from the people above you. The receipts say the waiting was the product. The comedian who named it told you everything in 1932. Money trickles up. So here is the truth the story was built to hide. Your raise was never going to trickle. Wages are negotiated, not precipitated. Everything working people ever actually won, the wage, the weekend, the overtime, was asked for out loud by people who stopped waiting. The joke is 90 years old, and it was always on the sparrow. You can step out from under the spout now. That was the whole trick. Case file 7 is closed. Next, shareholder value. The three words that decided your raise was a cost, and costs get cut.